Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.
Look to the east for the coming of a black king. Behold!
Garnett Silk was no ordinary singer. In the golden era of reggae's conscious revival, his voice stood out, smooth yet commanding, emotional yet unwavering in its message. Songs like Kingly Character, Passing Judgment, Zion in a Vision, and It's Growing. These weren't just hits. They were spiritual declarations that carried hope to every corner of Jamaica and far beyond. By the early 1990s, Silk was poised to cross into true international stardom. His stage presence was magnetic, his recordings soulful and uplifting, his beliefs deeply rooted in Rastafari. He was being hailed as the next great voice to follow in Bob Marley's footsteps. And then, just as the world was beginning to fully embrace him, he was gone. This is Reggae Just Extra, where we bring you the rhythm, the realness, and the roots of the culture. The official story is as tragic as it is dramatic. On the night of December 9th, 1994, Garnett Silk was at his mother's modest home in Mandeville, Jamaica. A few days earlier, his property had reportedly been burgled. Determined to protect his family, Garnett had borrowed 2 firearms from his attorney, despite not being known as an expert in handling guns. That night, as friends gathered, one offered to show him how to use them. Somewhere in the demonstration, a shot rang out, striking a propane gas cylinder. Flames erupted instantly, consuming the small structure in a hellish blaze. The accounts say Garnett, his brothers and friends, managed to escape through the choking smoke and blistering heat until they realized his mother was still inside. Driven by desperation, Garnett ran back into the inferno. Moments later, the house collapsed into a raging fireball. By the time the flames died, Garnett and his mother were gone. But for many who knew him, or who have studied the case, the official version doesn't add up. To begin with, the house itself wasn't a sprawling maze where one could easily get lost in a panic. It was barely more than a single room. 2 exit doors, one at the front, one at the back, meant there were clear escape routes. Even if smoke and chaos disoriented someone, it seems improbable that both Garnett and his mother could be trapped beyond rescue. That's where the alternative theories begin. Some say Garnett was tricked into going to Mandeville under false pretenses. Others claim he confronted thieves stealing construction materials from the 2-story home he was building for his mother. And then there's the most chilling version. Garnett was ambushed. In this telling, he never even escaped the house. He was shot, possibly in the side of the head, and the fire was deliberately set to erase all traces. Witness whispers claim he and his mother were found locked in each other's arms, as though the tragedy had been orchestrated down to its final detail. There's also the matter of his supposed inexperience with firearms. Several people close to him insist this was false. Garnett knew how to handle a weapon and took the safety of his family seriously. If he had a gun in hand and 2 unobstructed exits, they ask, how could the events have unfolded as authorities described? To understand the loss, you have to understand the man. Born Garnett Damian Smith on April 2, 1966, in Manchester, Jamaica, he grew up in the Hatfield district, just 2 miles west of Mandeville. As a boy, he showed no great love for school subjects, but he thrived in sports and music. By age 12, under the name Little Bimbo, he was already performing with the Soul Remembrance sound system, DJing with a confidence far beyond his years.
This is Rush Shiloh. I'm keeping it locked.
In 1985, his first single, Problem Everywhere, marked his entry into Jamaica's recording industry. The real turning point came in 1988, when he moved to Kingston and immersed himself in the capital's vibrant reggae scene. In 1986, a meeting with DJ Tony Rebel and dub poet Yassis Afari introduced him to Rastafarian teachings, an encounter that changed his life. From then on, his music carried the unmistakable stamp of spiritual conviction. By the early 90s, Garnett was everywhere. On stage at Reggae Sunsplash, captivating audiences at Reggae Sumfest, recording hit after hit. His messages were clear: love, unity, and faith in Jah. In 1994, he signed with Young Productions and landed his first major label deal with Big Beat, an Atlantic Records subsidiary. His return to the stage at Rebel Salute that year was legendary. Fans waited in pouring rain until 6 a.m. just to see him. Only days before his death, Garnett delivered what would become his final performance at Kingston's Mirage nightclub. He had been busy recording, collaborating, and preparing for the next chapter of his career. On that last trip to Mandeville, he was building a dream home for his mother. He also stopped to celebrate the birthday of his friend, Richie Stephens, with whom he had scored a #1 hit earlier that year. Fight Back, an anthem for the oppressed. The loss was devastating, not just for his family and friends, but for reggae as a whole. Garnett left behind 7 children. In a poignant twist, his wife, Lovey, gave birth to their 4th child, Garnett Jr., on April 3, 1995, the day after what would have been Garnett's 29th birthday. And still, the questions remain. Was the fire truly an accident, the result of a tragic chain of events? Or was it a carefully planned execution, hidden behind the convenient chaos of flames? More than 3 decades later, the mystery of Garnett Silk's death continues to cast a long shadow, leaving fans to wonder whether the truth was buried along with him. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a positive comment below. I'll see you soon for another untold story.